When a NASA scientist uncovers a classified Mars file containing a deleted image, the patterns captured leave her and soon the entire world completely frozen. Then the real investigation begins, shocking everyone. Nia Cruz's coffee had gone cold an hour ago, but she couldn't look away from her screen. The Mars file in front of her shouldn't have existed, at least not buried in a restricted folder labeled Project Artemis Review, with a classification code she'd never seen in her 8 years at NASA's Mars Sample Analysis Division. And yet, here it was, glowing on her monitor at 11:47 p.m. on a Friday night when everyone else had gone home. She'd stumbled onto it by accident, a simple archival task cataloging imaging data from Curiosity's Sol 3847. Routine work, boring work, the kind of thing you did when deadlines were breathing down your neck and you needed to clear out the backlog before the holidays. But then, she'd noticed the gap. Images numbered 3847042 all the way through 384789 were publicly available, sitting in NASA's open database where anyone could access them. Then came 384790, and nothing. The sequence jumped straight to 3847091, as if that single photograph had been plucked out of existence. That unexpected detail gnawed at her scientific curiosity. Mars missions didn't just lose images. Every byte of data was meticulously tracked and documented. So, she'd gone digging, and that's when she found the hidden image tucked away in a classified discovery folder that had no business being connected to a standard geological survey. Now, staring at it, Nia felt something cold settle in her chest. The photograph showed a section of Martian terrain near the Gale crater rim, rust-colored regolith stretching across the frame in that familiar otherworldly landscape she'd analyzed 1,000 times before. Nothing unusual there. Mars always looked like Mars. But crossing that landscape were dozens of dark linear markings. At first glance, they looked like shadows, or maybe small depressions in the soil, the kind of thing wind or minor rock slides might create over millennia. Except these marks had a pattern to them, a rhythm. They ran in diagonal lines across the frame, roughly parallel to each other, with spacing that seemed almost deliberate. Nia zoomed in, and that's when the startling moment hit her. The markings looked like tracks. Not rover tracks, she knew those by heart. These were smaller, more organic. They had depth and dimensionality that suggested weight, movement, and purpose. And the spacing between them resembled stride patterns, as if something had been running across the Martian surface, as if a herd of small animals had scattered across the frame, captured mid-flight by Curiosity's cameras. Her rational mind immediately pushed back. Pareidolia, pattern recognition, run amok. She'd seen a dozen faces and pyramids in Mars photos over the years, all easily explained by geology and human psychology. This was probably the same thing. Except this mysterious photo had been classified, hidden away, marked with codes that suggested someone somewhere had decided the public shouldn't see it. That changed everything. Nia's hands trembled slightly as she pulled up the metadata. The timestamp showed the image was captured nearly 3 years ago. So why was it still locked away? Standard protocol released rover images within months, not years. Unless... She thought about the rumors that had been circulating lately, the whistleblower claims about selective redaction of Mars data, the unusual non-disclosure agreements that several mission scientists signed last year, the space intrigue that had been building in online forums dismissed by NASA as conspiracy theories. What if it wasn't all a conspiracy? Nia leaned back in her chair, her heart pounding. Expert analysis would be needed, people far more qualified than her. But right now, in this empty office with only the hum of servers for company, she was the only one looking at this uncovered clue, the only one who knew. She grabbed her phone and opened her messages to Dr. David Kahn, her former mentor. Her fingers hovered over the keyboard. Should she report this through official channels first? Probably, almost certainly. But the dramatic reveal sitting on her screen felt too significant to let bureaucracy slow down. Whatever these markings were, they demanded answers. Now. And deep down, beneath all her scientific training and professional caution, Naya felt something she rarely allowed herself in her work: fear. Because those marks really did look like something had been running across Mars. And nothing, absolutely nothing, should be running across Mars. Naya's message to David was simple, almost casual. Have you ever seen geological formations like this? Found something odd in the archives? She attached a cropped version of the mysterious photo, carefully excluding the classification markers. No need to complicate things, she told herself. By the time she drove home an hour later, her phone was buzzing. David had posted the image on Twitter. Naya's stomach dropped as she pulled over to check. The tweet was already going viral. 1,200 retweets in 40 minutes. David had written, "Curious pattern for Mars. Anyone have thoughts on formation mechanism? The spacing is unlike anything I've seen." The replies were exploding. Amateur astronomers, planetary scientists, geology students, and sci-fi enthusiasts were all weighing in. And with each passing minute, the tone shifted from scientific curiosity to something more unsettling. Because people weren't seeing geological patterns, they were seeing evidence of life. "Those look like animal tracks," one biologist commented, attaching a comparison image of desert lizards running across sand dunes. The similarity was striking, too striking. "The stride length is consistent," another researcher noted. "That suggests coordinated movement, individual organisms with similar locomotion patterns." Within 2 hours, the space intrigue had captured the internet's attention completely. The original Mars file might have been classified, but this cropped version was spreading like wildfire, and the theories were getting wilder by the minute. Naya watched in growing horror as the discussion spiraled beyond her control. Then came the startling moment that changed everything. Dr. Rebecca Moss, a microbiologist from UC Berkeley, posted a detailed thread that went viral faster than David's original tweet. Her dramatic reveal hit like a thunderclap. "Everyone's asking what could survive on Mars. We already know the answer: tardigrades." She explained how these microscopic water bears, barely visible to the naked eye, were Earth's toughest creatures. They could survive extreme radiation, the vacuum of space, temperatures from near absolute zero to boiling. They'd been sent to Mars accidentally in 2019 when the Israeli Bereshet lander crashed, scattering thousands of them across the Martian surface. Under normal circumstances, Dr. Moss wrote, tardigrades would just enter cryptobiosis, a dormant state. But what if Mars's unique conditions, the radiation, the percorrelates in the soil, the extreme environment, triggered rapid mutation? What if they adapted, grew larger? What if they're not microscopic anymore? The uncovered clues sparked a firestorm. Within 24 hours, the mysterious photo had been analyzed by hundreds of online experts. Size estimates emerged. The creatures in the image appeared to be 15 to 30 centimeters long, roughly the size of a rat or slightly bigger. A computer modeling specialist created an animation showing how the tracks could have been made by cat-sized organisms moving in a coordinated group, like a herd or swarm. The video got 3 million views in 6 hours. Then the mainstream media picked up the story. CNN ran a segment titled "Life on Mars? Mysterious Image Raises Questions." Fox News went with "NASA's Secret Mars Discovery. What are they hiding?" And nobody could provide a definitive explanation to calm the storm. Meanwhile, Naya was fielding increasingly urgent messages from colleagues. The classified discovery wasn't so classified anymore, and people were asking questions. Where had this image come from? Why hadn't NASA released it before? What else were they hiding? The conspiracy theories multiplied. People connected the image to the whistleblower claims from 3 weeks ago. Some suggested NASA had known about Martian life for years and was slowly preparing the public for the truth. Others claimed this was proof that Earth organisms had already colonized Mars, raising terrifying questions about what would happen when humans arrived. On the 3rd day after David's tweet, NASA finally issued a statement which should have been reassuring. Instead, it made everything worse. because NASA didn't deny it. They didn't laugh it off or explain it away. They said they were examining all possibilities, which meant they didn't know either. Or worse, they knew and weren't telling. That's when Naya received the email that made her blood run cold. She'd violated protocol, shared restricted beta, and now, as the world spiraled into speculation about mutant creatures colonizing Mars, she was about to face the consequences. But before Monday arrived, she received a second email, this time from Dr. Victoria Lang. This one was marked with the same classification code she'd seen on the original Mars file. The two met at the earliest convenient time. Lang was younger than Naya expected, mid-40s, with sharp eyes that suggested she didn't miss much. She didn't waste time.
On pleasantries, Project Artemis isn't what people think, she said, pulling up the classified discovery file on a secure terminal. We weren't hiding alien life. We were mapping subsurface ice deposits for future missions. That Mars file you found, it was flagged for geological resources, not biology. Nia felt a flicker of relief. So the classification was just routine. Should have been. Lang pulled up the mysterious photo, the full, unedited version. Except we have a problem. We can't explain these markings. That unexpected detail hung in the air between them. Multiple geological models have failed, Lang continued. It doesn't match any known Martian weathering process, not impact effects, not rover tracks, not wind patterns we've documented. That's why I need expert analysis from people I can trust, people who understand that scientific curiosity sometimes requires discretion. Within 2 hours, a team had assembled in Conference Room B7. David Kahn arrived first, looking sheepish about the Twitter situation, but intensely focused on the hidden image now displayed on the main screen. Then came Dr. Yuki Tanaka, NASA's top imaging forensics specialist, followed by Commander Robert Hayes, a former Mars rover operator who'd driven Curiosity for 6 years. The space intrigue that had consumed the internet was about to get its first serious investigation. David spoke first, and his dramatic reveal was both reassuring and frustrating. Biology is impossible, he said flatly, pulling up a presentation he'd clearly prepared in a hurry. Even if tardigrades mutated, they'd need liquid water. There's none in Gale Crater's surface. They'd need food sources. None exist. Evolution doesn't work on 6-year timescales, and if something that size was moving around, we'd see other evidence: waste, dead specimens, disturbed soil chemistry. He clicked through detailed analyses, each one systematically dismantling the mutation theory. Whatever made these marks, it wasn't alive. It couldn't be. The relief in the room was palpable, but short-lived, because if it wasn't creatures, then what was it? Dr. Tanaka took over, her fingers flying across her keyboard as she pulled up the image metadata. The uncovered clue she found made everyone lean forward. This pattern exists in only one photograph from Sol 3847, she said. Images taken 15 minutes before? Nothing. 15 minutes after? Nothing. Same terrain, same lighting conditions, but no marks. Nia felt her pulse quicken. That means whatever created these formations appeared and disappeared in under 30 minutes, Tanaka finished. Or, she paused, her expression shifting into something between confusion and realization. They never existed at all. Commander Hayes was already pulling up operational logs, his years of experience with rover systems suddenly critical. Sol 3847, he muttered, scrolling through technical data. Sol 3847. Wait. The startling moment came when he found it. Communications glitch, Hayes said, pointing at the screen. Curiosity experienced a temporary systems disruption that day. The rover automatically ran diagnostics, including camera calibration tests, multiple rapid-fire shots with different internal settings. Lang straightened in her chair. What kind of settings? Contrast enhancement, edge detection, shadow amplification. Hayes looked up at the mysterious photo on the main screen. All the things that would make small surface features look more dramatic. The pieces were starting to come together, but they still didn't have their answer.
Dr. Tanaka's forensic software ran through the night, comparing the hidden image against every other photograph in Curiosity's database. By dawn, she had her answer. The team reconvened at 6 a.m., exhausted but wired on coffee and scientific curiosity. Tanaka's presentation was already loaded on the screen. "I found 12 other images," she began, "where Curiosity's contrast enhancement algorithm accidentally activated. Look at this one from 2018. The comparison image showed what appeared to be footprints near Jezero crater, except they'd been explained years ago as natural depressions. Another from 2021 displayed patterns that looked eerily like writing on a rock face, later identified as crystalline structures. The algorithm is designed to help us identify rocks and geological features," Tanaka explained. "It amplifies shadows, enhances edges, creates artificial depth perception. It does exactly what it's supposed to. Except sometimes," Commander Hayes added, pulling up a new image on his tablet, "it creates optical illusions." The startling moment came when he showed them fresh photographs. The team had requested new images of the exact same location from the mysterious photo. It had taken Curiosity 3 weeks to maneuver back to that section of Gale Crater. Mars rovers moved slowly, deliberately, but the wait had been worth it. The new images showed the truth. The creature tracks were actually miniature wind ripples, tiny versions of the massive dune formations common across Mars. These particular ripples had formed in an unusual perpendicular pattern where competing wind directions met at the crater rim. From one angle in normal lighting, they looked simple geological features, but when Curiosity's contrast algorithm had processed the original image, it had amplified those tiny shadows, enhanced the regular spacing, and created the illusion of three-dimensional movement. The stride patterns were just the consistent spacing of wind-carved formations. The herd was just parallel ripples running diagonally across the frame. The expert analysis was complete. The dramatic reveal was simple, logical, and utterly deflating. "So the classified discovery that had the entire internet convinced we'd found life on Mars," Nia said slowly, "was just wind patterns and a software glitch." "Pretty much," Lang confirmed, though there was something almost admiring in her tone. "Though to be fair, it's a remarkably convincing illusion. Even we couldn't figure it out without the comparison images." The uncovered clue that had frozen experts and terrified the public was nothing more than Mars doing what Mars always did, creating patterns that made humans see what they wanted to see, or in this case, what they feared to see. The truth behind the Mars image was simpler than anyone imagined, but the fear it sparked was very real. What would you have thought if you'd seen those tracks? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and catch you in the next video.